Hi everybody, so we've been talking about ecosystem changes all week, and when ecosystems change, it can affect the animals that live there, that had those ecosystems as their habitat. So some animals might not be able to adapt. Some animals can adapt and maybe still continue to live there, but for those animals that can't adapt and continue to live in that environment after the ecosystem has changed, we talked about that there are really two things that can happen. Number one is they can migrate and find a new location to live, and sometimes that works out and the animal species or population just moves or migrates to a new place and makes a new home for themselves. But the other option, if the animal can't adapt and live in the ecosystem however it's changed, and if the animal can't migrate, if the species can't migrate and find a new home to live in, then that animal is going to start to die and die out. So that brings up the idea that when that happens with animal populations, the widespread ecosystem changes can cause decreases in numbers of animal populations. So some animals can start to become threatened or endangered, or some animals can even become extinct. So I wanted to talk with you today about a couple different words that go along with those ideas. So if you can see my list here, these are the kind of words or vocabulary that's used to describe different species of animals that have started to die out in our world. So the animals that are of least concern, those are the animal populations that we're pretty happy with. We're pretty happy with the number that there are. There are the most of these that are at the top. I put them at the top of the list because those are the types of species that have the most number left of that kind of animal. They're a good, healthy population, and we can be happy about that. If those animals start to have maybe some habitat loss from some ecosystem changes, then some of the species of the animal can start to die out, but maybe not all of them, right? Just some of the species maybe can't migrate or can't adapt, and some of them die out. So that population can start to become threatened, or a little bit worse than that is the word vulnerable. And so we have kind of this face. It's not a happy face, but it's not a really super sad face yet. We are concerned about those population of animals, and scientists and environmentalists will try to do things to help that population of animals, to help them to have a good habitat where they can regain some health and regain some numbers so that they can become a healthy population again. If that doesn't happen, and they still can't regain a good healthy population and more of the species dies out from the ecosystem change that they've experienced, then those animals can start to become endangered. And endangered animals, that's a real problem, because endangered means that there's very, very few of that species left, and it's in danger. Okay, it's in danger of dying out completely. It's not died out completely yet, but it's definitely a concern. And so an endangered species is one that we really have to work to protect. This is where laws are made to help prevent any kind of hunting of that animal, and laws are made to protect that animal. Even threatened and vulnerable species, often there are laws in place to help protect those animals. Endangered animals, some of them might be even kept at like an animal sanctuary where they are protected and taken well care of. If those efforts don't work and more of that species dies out, then that's when an animal can become extinct. Extinct is the saddest out of all of our faces here, because extinct, the word extinct means that the animal has died out completely. There is nothing more we can do to help that animal because it's gone. It's gone from the earth and there's no more of it left, and we can't bring it back. So extinct is a really kind of sad way to look at things. It's a really kind of sad thing that's happened to some of those animals. So you can think about things like the dodo bird, things like dinosaurs. They're extinct. They're not around anymore. And so it's impossible to get them back. There's nothing else that can be done to help that situation. So these are the words we're going to be thinking about today in today's lesson. You're going to be looking at some extinct animals, animals that have died out completely, and we're going to think about why. What was the change in the environment, or what was the change in the ecosystem that caused those animals to become extinct? Let me know if you have questions. I'll be around today. Thanks.